Hello, dear friends. In the current times, it is better to speak in metaphors or in parables like the Master. Metaphor or allegory is a figure of speech with an aesthetic purpose, a fiction by virtue of which a story or an image represents or signifies something else. Opinion piece. Castles made of sand. They will fall into the sea in the end. We are in free fall. This won't last long. Final activation plan. Time is running out now. Time for big revelations. Charlie Watt is eager to reveal. Many choose to sell themselves. Many let themselves be bought for a trifle. Let's start. When I was a child, I used to build sand castles on the beach until the waves of the sea easily crumbled them, such as the vain works of humankind that are not based on divine geometry. All castles made of sand will fall into the sea in the end. Castles Made of Sand is a Jimi Hendrix song from his second album in 1967. His great psychedelic musical vision is a beautiful and melancholic ballad. The song is a biographical story about Hendrix's childhood as a sharp reflection on the bitter ironies of life. The song's lyrics address the significance of the sand within the track as a metaphor for the temporal nature of existence, of time slipping away, how nothing can be taken for granted. Love, loyalty, family ties, and friendship. It is one of Hendrix's most obvious biographical songs, said to be written about his ascending and transitional childhood, involving different homes, different schools, different careers, and a mother who was here 1 minute ago. According to Spanish singer-songwriter Pablo Alborán, in quotes, we have made sand castles and we have started again when the sea was knocking on the doors. We have made for every hurricane a candle. We have seen dreams burn, and suddenly see how they are reburned with just a kiss. We have made with all the stones an empire. No one can measure the distance between the sky and the sea. Yet, I see from my shore that they can't touch. We have withstood fear. Silence wanted to win the race first. We held the gold in our hands without knowing it. A clairvoyant has premonitory visions and dreams. He feels a sense of chaos, a feeling of changing the world order or exposing it. It will cause people to go beyond what they can handle and cause so much anger that people will riot. It will alter beliefs and political thinking. In quotes, I only say this because I haven't had this feeling in a long time. Not this intense or urgent. I'm sorry, I can't be more explicit. All castles made of sand will fall into the sea in the end. Close quotes. Definition. A sand castle is considered an art form because of the complexest laboratoriness it can reach. There are many competitions to build sculptures, such as statues or faces with sand, although the most widespread form is the creation of castles. The Egyptians used sand to make scale models of the pyramids they were going to build, but the construction of sand castles for artistic purposes began in the USA in the early 20th century, and by 1990 it had spread to Europe. Today, the most famous sandcastle competition is held in Sydney. The tallest sandcastle was built in 2003 and is almost 9 meters high. Any sand can be used to be a small castle, as long as it is very fine-grained. But if you want to build a larger castle, you should use cubic sand. The lifespan of a sand castle depends on the quality of the sand and its compaction. Nowadays, and at a professional level, a product is applied to them to extend their life so that they can be exposed to the elements for a few months. Reset news. The next 3 weeks will be full of mass arrests. In just 2.5 hours on Monday, there have been 738 individual military aircraft with transponders. And we know it's not all about the transponders. In a world where a normal military aircraft day used to be 200 to 250 active military aircraft. Hong Kong stock market falls 6.36% overnight. Charlie Ward is eager to make an appearance as are others. The next string is in the air to be announced whenever events permit. According to Charlie Ward, the QFS is underway and is backing currencies. Charlie talks about countries that are backed by gold. He says he is waiting for the green light for the US. He also talks about several countries coming under the military law and claims to have spoken to General Flynn on these matters. Are We Free Yet? By Logan B. The QFS is said to be alive and functioning in the quantum realm of infinite possibilities. It knows us all intimately and has more than enough money destined for every soul on earth. But it is capable of much more than simply moving money. The Galactics call it a quantum abundance system, of which they have one on all their spaceships. They say that when you visit their ships, the system begins to provide you with everything you need. If you are hungry and thirsty, your favorite food is in front of you on a table fit for royalty. If you need to use the bathroom, it materializes around you. Cleaning. Doc Poet opines that as you move towards the false light, you move away from the luminous intelligence of the true light. Sunspot on the opposite side. There is a sunspot on the opposite side of the sun so large that it is changing the way the sun vibrates. Maps reveal its acoustic echo a few days behind the sun's north-steam limb. This sunspot will rotate towards the Earth's side later this week. We will see. Attorney General Eric Schmidt orders top White House officials deposed in case of censorship of big tech companies. Dozens of federal officials, along with top social media executives, are being held accountable for colluding to suppress constitutional rights. The original lawsuit was filed by Missouri Attorney General Eric Schmidt and Louisiana Attorney General Jeff Landry on 5th May 2022. You cannot stop building a multipolar world. Iranian President Ebrahim Raisi has repeatedly reiterated that Tehran is focused on the policy of multipolarity and sustainable integration with the aim of establishing a just international order based on mutual respect, and, in quotes, the construction of a multipolar world cannot be stopped. There are already many centers of power outside the Western world, the Iranian president told the General Assembly of the Asia Pacific News Agency organization. Free fall. According to Max Sida, we have an embedded bond market waiting for an event. The markets are in an election year frenzy, and they are feeding it in the hope that they can keep it from crashing before the election. I think they want to leave it until after, but my contacts believe it will happen before the election. When the bond market crashes, everyone will fall, and the markets are very vulnerable at the moment. Bonds prop up every central bank and every government in the world. Splash. What can we expect if Clasher and Export are not unlocked until spring 2023? Asks David Dabine. If you are not awake yet, you are part of the living dead. A member of the House Intelligence Committee wants that biological weapons are being made that use digest DNA just to kill that person. X22 report. Shall we play a game? How about a good game of chess? The diesel supply has only 25 days left, and the lack of diesel could cripple the economy. The cancellation of the student loan was stopped by a judge. The economic agenda will boomerang. New Israeli factory in the Netherlands to print artificial meat to replace pharma-produced meat. An Israeli company called Redefine Meat has announced a deal to partner with an importer that will deliver its lab-grown meat to Western Europe. Activation. Final activation plan by Peter B. Mayer. Everything seems perfectly normal. Your neighbors are still living in their priceless big houses, driving the kids to school in brand new luxury cars, leaving no one thinking of imminent economic collapse. However, the truth is that most of these houses and cars are largely financed by debt money, and that will collapse the moment the economy collapses. All the figures are alarming and indicate that the economy is well on its way to global financial Armageddon. The headlines do not scream of a stock market crash or an economic depression. October was going to be the month when it was all going to happen, but doesn't mean the economy is getting better. The world economy is vast in all respects and in all regions. Most of the European Union is underwater. The socialists want Portugal's debt to be written off by 50% and to leave the European Monetary Union. The euro has destroyed enough countries for now. The banks are in desolate chaos. Interest rates must remain at 0% or else all institutions with derivatives, like Deutsche Bank for example, which has several hundred billion in derivatives that are about to explode, will go bankrupt. If the crisis starts, cash will be the king. It will buy more everyday goods and services. All kinds of financial and real estate assets will fall in price. According to the Nomad economist, Deutsche Bank could not collapse without triggering a domino effect taking the entire financial system with it. It is also a harbinger of a larger problem with European banks in general. If their failure becomes a reality, it would be the end of the financial system as we know it. And because the big banks are highly leveraged, they are interdependent. If one big bank fails, many others will fall like dominoes. Humankind has now reached the end of the long 3D cycle of experiences in duality. We are on the 4D bridge between the third and fifth dimensional worlds. It is on this bridge that all will be revealed. Revelations. According to Vital Frozy, the time of revelations has come. Nothing will be hidden anymore, neither to our eyes nor to our consciousness. We are in the final phase of the transition, precisely the phase that precedes the greatest event, the phase that will cut the threads that still bind us to the third dimensional world. All systems known to humankind will be restarted in order to activate the initiation of the new systems. The expectation of the incarnated soul now is great. Although the human consciousness cannot yet grasp the grandeur of such events, the soul is its highest version clearly sees a glimpse of what is to come. With each passing day, more and more consciousness that were shrouded in veils of forgetfulness begin to expand their understanding, giving each incarnate the opportunity to awaken for the long dark night of illusion. What you did not understand a year ago now seems very familiar. Issues that didn't interest you before now begin to become clearer. What first seemed like fiction now seems like an acceptable reality, and everything that seemed real now seems like an illusion. Yes, you are awakening. The high-frequency energy now coming to us is bringing about such possibilities. All those who are awakening now will have an auspicious time to open their eyes forever. There will be no more illusions for this part of humankind. The final strait. We have said many times that the planetary transition is in its final moments. At least one third of those incarnated will be able to ascend in this present lifetime. Remember also that this is the last opportunity, for there will be no further incarnations in duality on planet Earth. There has been sufficient time for all souls to prepare. Hundreds and even more than 1,000 previous incarnations, most incarnates have already had. No one can say that they have not had time to learn what duality means. All have passed through all possible and imaginary polarities of this school of souls. Time is running out. What used to take centuries can now take only a few months. It is time for all of us. Wake up. Sleep no more. The hour is still early, and many may not realize that time is running out. The portals of ascension are now open. You must pass through them to reach the new earth. When the bell rings, they will close for those left behind, and nothing more can be done for them. There is no lack of messages and messengers to carry the good news. There was no lack of opportunities to redeem themselves from wrongdoing. There was no lack of signs coming from everywhere and from above. But it was always said that there had to be ears to hear and eyes to see. All had been warned to understand the purpose of each of us incarnated here on earth. Value and price. Only the fool confuses value with price. The wheat has been separated from the chaff. Everyone now knows the difference between value and price. Value and price are very different things. Many incarnates gave more importance to ethical and moral values and to qualities overcome by hard trials, while others adapted themselves by the price of each act or deed. A humankind that has value has gained wealth in heaven. On the other hand, he who has set a price for every act or deed has conquered goods that will no longer exist, because they are ephemeral. Now they have no value for him. On the contrary, what had a price will have to be redeemed, just as all debts must be paid. Many choose to sell themselves for worldly gain. This comes at a price. Others prefer to build a life based on the gentleness of every action, always respecting everything and everyone, and living their days in the most perfect awareness of ethics and responsibility. There are the humankind who have value. This courage can be used as a bargaining chip when the time comes to walk through the door of ascension. The price is the contribution to be paid before passing through the gate. The price is the amount to be paid, and that has no other perspective. Value, on the other hand, is what is really worth, and no money in the world can buy that. Many incarnations allow themselves to be bought, and that has a price. They spend the resources they have accumulated on worldly things, because what is easily gained is easily consumed. Like commodities, it is traded. Remember the parable of the merchants in the temple. These will not inherit the kingdom of heaven. That is, they will not experience the ascension that leads to the new wealth. Those who honour moral values, on the other hand, deserve the right to inherit the new earth, and that is priceless. There is nothing in the world that can buy such a precious possession of such value. Create not a fortune on earth at the expense of the riches of heaven. Many allow themselves to be bought for a trifle. Interests are sold or bought by those who have no value. They trade with their souls in the sacred temple. They lend themselves to the interest of the few at the expense of the many. Perhaps it is time for each person to evaluate his or her situation. Does it have value or just a price? I am Byron Rossi, and my mission is enlightenment. That's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.